येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। कं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य। You just give me the जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। Hare Krishna. So we are beginning a new chapter today, and the chapter title is Lord Caitanya travels to South India. So he is coming to our very own South India in this chapter. This is chapter number 7 from MadhyaLila. So let us all begin with this first verse of this chapter. Dhanyam tam naumi chaitanyam Vasudevam dayadradhi Nashtakushtam rupapushtam Bhaktitushtam chakarayah.
Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu, being very compassionate towards a Brahmana named Vasudev, cured him of leprosy. Vasudevam dayadridhi nashta kushtam. So his kusht rog or leprosy was destroyed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He transformed him into a beautiful man. Rupa pushtam. He transformed him into a beautiful man, satisfied with devotional service. The Lord was so pleased Vasudev's the Brahmana leper by his devotional service that Lord cured him of his leprosy and gave him a very beautiful form, Bhakti Tush, satisfied by his devotional service. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the glorious Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
All glories to Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. All glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. हे मते सार्वभौमे निस्तार करिला,
Dakshinagmane Prabhuricha Upajila. After delivering Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mate Sarvabhaumera Nistar Karila. After delivering him, the Lord desired to go to South India to preach Dakshina Gamane. So Lord developed this intense desire to go to South India after the deliverance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
माघ शुक्ल पक्षे प्रभु करिला संन्यासा, फागुने आसिया कैला नीलाचले वासा. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the renounced order during the waxing fortnight of the month of Magh. So, in Magh month, Shukla Paksh, or the waxing fortnight, that was the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually took sannyas, and then during the following month, Fagun, he went to Jagannath Puri and resided there. So that here he goes to Jagannath Puri, he reaches in the month of Fagun and he's residing there.
फागुनेर शेषे डोला यात्रा से देखिला, प्रेम वेशताः बहु नृत्य गीत कैला. At the end of the month of Fagun, he witnessed the Dola Yatra ceremony. And in his usual ecstatic love of God, he chanted and danced in various ways on the occasion. So Lord was experiencing his usual ecstatic love, and in that he was Bahu Nritya Gita Kaila. So much he danced and sang and chanted the holy names of the Lord during the Dola Yatra ceremony.
Chaitrirahi Kaila Sarva Bhauma Vimochana, Vaishakhera Prathame Dakshinyaite Haila Mana. During the month of Chaitra, while living at Jagannath Puri, the Lord delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and at the beginning of the next month, Vaishakh, he decided to go to South India. So we are hearing all these months which are according to the Vedic calendar. So it is mentioned there. So Chaitra month came, and that was the time when he delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and then the next month came, which is Vaishakh. So that is the time when actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu developed this desire to go to South India. So the entire time scale is mentioned from the time he took sannyas till the time he's here. So what all has happened? Nijaganani kahe vinaya kariya, alingana kari sabai Shri haste dhariya. Toma sab janiyami pranadhika kari, prana chhadayaya toma sab chhadite na pari.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called all his devotees together and holding them by the hand, humbly informed them, "You are all more dear to me than my life. I can give up my life, but to give you up is difficult for me." So this is the intense loving affection that Lord has for his devotees. Lord is saying that I can give up my life. That is not difficult. Usually for people, they are so much attached to themselves that they cannot give themselves up. But here Lord is saying, I can give myself. That is not a problem, but I cannot give up your association. You are more dear to me than my life. So Lord has called all his devotees together, and he is humbly informing this because he is going to break this news to them that he has this desire to go to South India for preaching.
Tumi sab bandhu mora bandhu kritya kaile, ihani more Jagannath dekhaile. You are all my friends, and you have properly executed the duties of friends by bringing me here to Jagannath Puri and giving me the chance to see Lord Jagannath in the temple. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the complete credit to his friends that because of you I could come, you brought me here carefully, and because of you I can have darshan of Jagannath.
Ebe sabastane muni mago ek dane, sabe meli agya deha yai badakashine. I now beg all of you for one bit of charity. Please give me permission to leave for a tour of South India. So we see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented this request in such a beautiful way. So first he called all of them, he held their hands, and then he told that you are so dear to me, and for me giving you up is most difficult. And then he expressed his gratitude that I was so wanting to see Lord Jagannath, and you are the ones who brought me to Jagannath Puri, and you are the ones who helped me at darshan of Jagannath. And now he's asking as a charity that you please grant me this wish that I can go to South India for tour.
Vishwarupa uddesha
Varshayami yaba ekakiyaiba kaho sangena laiba.
I shall go to search out Vishwarup. Please forgive me, but I want to go alone. I do not wish to take anyone with me. So now we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how very affectionately he opened up the subject matter, and how out of humility, and because he was feeling so that his friends have been so kind and nice to him, his associates have been so wonderful, but he wanted to leave them and go alone. So that is how he first glorified them, and then he is telling, and he is citing here a reason that I shall go to search out Vishwarup. So Vishwarup is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother. If we remember, we discussed in the MadhyaLila itself that he was at a young age, he actually went away and he became a sadhu, and that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother was very concerned, Sachi Mata was very concerned, that what if my Nimai also takes sannyas and leaves me and go? And ultimately that happened. So both her sons have left. So this now he is telling that I will go to search for Vishwarupa. But deep down, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this point of time that Vishwarupa had already left. He had left this mortal world. He has gone ahead. But yet he was telling here, on a pretext of searching Vishwarup, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted a permission to go and search him, and he is making this very specific request that I do not wish to take anyone with me.
Setu bandhaite ami na asiyavata nila chale tumi savara hivetavata. Until I return from Setu Bandha, all of you dear friends should remain at Jagannath Puri. So Lord is making another request or an instruction he's giving to all his devotees that he's made it very clear that I want to go to South India, and now he's telling to the limit which he'll go. He'll go to the Setu Bandha, which means the bridge which was built by Lord Ram. He will go till there, and then he'll come back, and he's requesting all his dear friend devotees to continue to remain in Jagannath Puri till the time Lord returns.
Vishwarupa siddhi prapti jane na sakala dakshin deshe uddharite karene chala. Knowing everything, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was aware that Vishwarupa had already passed away. A pretense of ignorance was necessary, however, so that he could go to South India and liberate the people there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we know, his pranam mantra itself is Mahavadanyaya. He's the most magnanimous, the most compassionate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to deliver. He does not want to limit his mercy only to the people of Bengal and Odisha. So here he is requesting that I want to go to South India. And why he wants to go? Because he could give mercy to everyone and liberate the people over there.
Duniya sabare mane haila mahadukha nishabda haila saba shukaila mukha. Upon hearing this message from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees became very unhappy and remained silent with sullen faces. So their faces dried up and they could not speak anything. Nishabda, no word will come out. They became silent and they were so mahadukha, they were so very unhappy. So we understand that when Lord is saying this, that I cannot live without you, the devotees had no other purpose in life other than to live and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They have no other purpose in life. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I leave all of you, you stay back, I will go everywhere and I'll come back after visiting South India. So it was a proposal which was beyond their imagination.
Nityananda Prabhu kahe aiche kaiche haya ekakiya ibe tumi ki iha sahaya. Nityananda Prabhu then said, how is it possible for you to go alone? Who can tolerate this? So now we have to understand that this is happening 500 years ago. So it's not so convenient as it is in current time. Like if I want to go, let's say to Jagannath Puri now, it just cost me some air ticket money or a train ticket. But that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would on foot come from Odisha all the way to South India, and he's telling South India also he'll go to the end, he'll go to the Setu Bandh. So, how he will go alone? Who will look after him? And what is the guarantee? When is he coming back? All these things were there. I mean, he's just going, and there was no return ticket when he would be coming back. So, Nityananda is telling here, how is it possible, and who can tolerate this?
And Nityananda Prabhu saying, "Aiche kaise haya?" ऐसे कैसे कह
ऐसा
रहे हो?
कैसे हो सकता है?
दुई एक संगे चलो ना पढ़ा ठरंगे यारे कहा से दुई चलो तोमार संगे. Let one or two of us go with you, otherwise you may fall into the clutches of thieves and rogues along the way. They may be whomever you like, but two persons should go with you. Now we understand that Nityananda Prabhu is not having a problem with Lord's going to South India or his preaching assignment or preaching assignment. Lord has a preaching assignment, yes, because that's why the Lord, he has come to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement in Kali Yuga. So Lord is very eager to go. So Nityananda Prabhu does not have a problem with that, but he has a problem with safety of the Lord. So again, this is because of Nityananda's intense love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we also saw that when he was coming from Bengal and on the way, the two states were at war with each other. And they were, of course, thieves. And on how somehow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was protected and given protection and other things. And he reached Jagannath Puri. So Nityananda Prabhu also has the same concern that there may be thieves or rogues along the way. So you take one or two of us. You choose whom to take. That is up to you. दक्षिणेर तीर्थ पथ आमी सब जानी आमी संगे याई प्रभु आज्ञा देह तुमी.
Indeed, I know all the paths to the different places of pilgrimage in South India. Just order me and I shall go with you. So Nityananda is telling, first he said that take at least two people, and then out of those two he is blocking his spot. He's saying that I have an advantage that I know all the places in South India. Let me come with you. I'll show you wherever you want to go.
With logic.
Yes.
Prabhu kahe aami narta tumi sutradhara tumi aiche nacha uche nartana amara. The Lord replied, I am simply a dancer and you are the wire puller. However, you pulled the wires to make me dance, I shall dance in that way. So like we have in Hindi, we say Katputli, puppet. So the puppeteer has the threads or the wires in his fingers, and accordingly the way he moves his fingers, the puppet moves the hand, because those hands are tied to those wires or threads. So Lord is giving that analogy that you are that puppeteer and I am that puppet. Whichever way you pull the wire, I am simply dancing to your desires and tunes. Sannyasa kariya ami chali vrindavana tumi amalana aile advaita bhavana.
So I hope we all remember this pastime when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and at that time he had this intense desire to go to Sri Dham Vrindavan, and he was proceeding there. And we remember that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was following, Nityananda Prabhu was following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he tricked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there were some boys whom Nityananda goes and tells that if this person will ask you which side is Vrindavan, you tell him that side, so some other direction. So that is how he tricked him. He brings him to Ganga, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked that, how are you here? How come you are here? And he says, yeah, this is Vrindavan and this is Yamuna. So like that he says, and then he brings Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ultimately to Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. So now if we read the title of this particular section, Lord's affectionate criticism of his devotees. So Nityananda has mentioned that take 2 devotees and one out of those can be me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like starting layer by layer. Now he will tell affectionately, he will point out what is the problem with his associates. So here he has just started and he is telling that Nityanand, you are like a puppeteer and you make me a puppet, you make me dance. You remember how I wanted to go to Vrindavan? You tricked me and you took me to Advaita Bhavan.
नीला चले आते पथे भांगली मोर दंडा तोमसा गाढ़ स्नेहे आमकार भंगा. While on the way to Jagannath Puri, you broke my sannyas staff. I know that all of you have great affection for me, but such things disturb my activities. So this is something which Lord is trying to explain to them. Lord has intense love for them. God have prem, God has sneh. And the devotees have more God has sneh for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then whenever they see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing some austerity, sannyas ashram is an ashram of austerity. One has to live in a very, very austere condition, take bath 3 times and be alone, or just, not take and eat very, very simple, frugal, very simple food, beg and then cook and then eat, or I mean, some assistant will be there who can cook, but then live a very, very austere life. And the devotees could not see so much austerity being taken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like Nityananda Prabhu couldn't, accept that why the Lord of the universe has taken sannyas. He broke the staff. And so these devotees are doing all these kind of things out of their affection for the Lord. And Lord understands this. But he's saying, I am a sannyasi now. I accept sannyas order. And you're not letting me practice my sannyas ashram. So all these things are disturbing my activities. Jagannath chahe amma vishaya bhunjaite. Yehi kahe se bhaye chahiye karite.
Now he's talking about another devotee, Jagdanand Pandit. So he's saying, Jagdanand wants me to enjoy bodily sense gratification, and out of fear, Lord is scared. Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that I am scared. So out of fear of who? Out of fear of Jagdanand, I do whatever he tells me. So we will, in the upcoming chapters, we will see this. There is one chapter dedicated to the dealings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagdanand Pandit, which is very, very sweet and amazing chapter. And there we will see more about it, like how Jagdanand actually gets angry. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not follow what he says, he gets angry, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would not eat. So then out of fear, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would agree, okay, whatever you are saying, I'll do that.
Yeah, Lord explains the next verse. Kabhu yadi har vakya kariye anyatha krodhe teen dina more nahi kahe katha. So this is what happens if Lord does not listen to or follow the advice of Jagdanand. Then what happens if I sometimes do something against his desire, out of anger, he will not talk to me for 3 days.
Lord say.
Jagdanand will not speak to the Lord for 3 days, and this will trouble Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so much. So out of that fear, whatever Jagdanand Pandit will say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will do. But again, this will disturb his sannyas ashram. So the point is that Lord is setting an example for everyone. He has accepted sannyas ashram. Why? If you go back, he accepted sannyas ashram because people who were favorable, they directly took the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, chanted the holy name at home, participated in Sankirtan, and they were, accepting this yoga dharma. But there were people who did not accept. They were atheists, and there were others who were very proud, or smarthas, who did not accept. So for that, Lord accepted sannyas, because sannyas is an ashram that everybody, because of the Vedic culture, everybody would offer respects, and they will get some advantage, some advancement in spiritual life. So Lord wanted to be an exemplary sannyasi on one hand, and these devotees could not tolerate his austerity, so they were doing, they out of their love, they were, you know, uh, giving advice to the Lord, contrary to that.
मुकुंद है न दुखी देखी संन्यास धर्म तीन बार शीते स्नान भूमिते शयन. Being a sannyasi, I have a duty to lie down on the ground and to take bath 3 times a day, even during the winter. But Mukunda becomes very unhappy when he sees my severe austerities. So now one point is constant, that all these devotees, why they are becoming sad or why they are interfering with Lord's plans is because of their intense love for the Supreme Lord. So they love him so much. So Mukunda feels very unhappy when he sees that Lord has to take bath 3 times, when he sees that even on winters he's sleeping on ground. So that is how Mukunda becomes very unhappy. Antare dukhi Mukunda nahi kahe mukhe iha dukha dekhi mora duiguna hai dukhe.
Of course, Mukunda does not say anything, but I know that he is very unhappy within, and upon seeing him unhappy, I become twice as unhappy. So we see that, in case of Jagannath, Lord became very afraid. In case of Mukunda, he saw that, oh, Mukunda is so sad, he's so unhappy, and then that gave so much unhappiness to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these are all things that Lord, although he is criticizing, but it is all as an expression of affection and love for his devotees. And this is the reason which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going, that is why I want to go alone.
Amita sannyasi damodar brahmachari sadarahe amarupa shiksha dandadhari. Although I am in the renounced order of life and Damodar is a brahmachari, he still keeps a stick in his hand just to educate me. So now the devotees of the Lord, they don't want Lord to commit any mistake. So Damodar is like guarding Lord that no, this is right, this is not right, this is proper, this is not proper. So Mahaprabhu is telling that I am a sannyasi and he is a brahmachari, so he is much junior to me that way. But still, he doubts me, or rather, he is being so protective about me that he is always on my case.
And Srila Prabhupada notes in the purport that a brahmachari should not actually do that, with the sannyasi. Ihara ami na jani vyavahara ihare na bhaya swatantra charitra amara. According to Damodar, I am still a neophyte as far as social etiquette is concerned. Therefore, he does not like my independent nature. So this is what Damodar thinks, the Damodar Brahmachari, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is still a neophyte as far as the social etiquette is concerned. So he is not very favorable to the Lord's independent nature. But we know
he's not giving freedom to the Lord.
Yeah, but we also know that Lord is supreme, the independent. That's why one of the qualities of the Lord is that he is Swarat.
Lokapeksha nahi har Krishna kripa haite Ami lokapeksha kabu na pari chadite. Damodar Pandit and others are more advanced in receiving the mercy of Lord Krishna. Therefore, they are independent of public opinion. As such, they want me to enjoy these sense gratification even though it be unethical. But since I am a poor sannyasi, I cannot abandon the duties of the renounced order and therefore I follow them strictly. So he is sort of concluding here that devotees, they want me to enjoy, they want me to live a very comfortable life. But according to my ashram, according to where I am situated, these things are unethical, which means I am not supposed to. So Lord is setting an example as how a sannyasi should behave. So he's telling that all these things does not suit me, and they are very advanced. These devotees are very advanced, so they need not follow rules. They need not consider public opinion. But I am a simple, humble, poor sannyasi, and I must abide by these rules.
अतएव तुम्ही सबा राह नीला चले दीनगत आम्ही तिथा भ्रमिबा एकले. You should all therefore remain here in Nilachal for some days while I do the sacred praises of pilgrimage alone. So this Lord again making this request that all of you remain here, let me go and I will come back and I want to do this alone. इहा सबर्वश प्रभु हाय ये गुणे दोषारोप छले करे गुणास्वादने.
Actually, the Lord was controlled by the good qualities of all his devotees. On the pretense of attributing faults, he tasted all these qualities. So the Lord actually loves his devotees, and the Lord is very appreciative of how his devotees do not consider social customs or rules and regulations in an effort to take care of the Lord. So for the devotees, the Lord is supreme, the Lord is the center. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very appreciative. So just like how we read in Srimad Bhagavatam about the gopis and Krishna, so how for gopis or for all the other residents of Rajvasi, for all the devotees, their topmost priority was Krishna. Or rather, Krishna was the only priority. They had no priority apart from Krishna. And so same thing here, it is reflected by the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they are all very happy. Is there some problem with the transmission? So can we stop it? Chaitanya Bhakta Vatsala Kathya Kathana Apane Vairagya Dukha Karena Sahana.
No one can properly describe Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's affection for his devotees. He always tolerated all kinds of personal unhappiness resulting from his acceptance of the renounced order of life. So Chaitanya Bhakta Vatsalya Akathaya Kathana. It cannot be described. It is beyond description, beyond words. What? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Bhakta Vatsal, the affection that Lord had for his devotees. And Lord tolerated whatever Vairagya Dukha was there, the resulting unhappiness upon accepting sannyas. Lord just tolerated that. Se dukha dekhiye bhakta dukha paya, se dukha tanra shakti sahanaya.
The regulative principles observed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were sometimes intolerable, and all the devotees became greatly affected by them. Although strictly observing the regulative principles, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not tolerate the unhappiness felt by his devotees. So now here again, the depth of the love of devotees for Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu for devotees is explained. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happily and he was very welcoming towards all the austerities which he was supposed to follow. He had no problems, he had no inhibitions in observing those austere vows. But his observing those vows would make the devotees very concerned and very greatly affected. And when the devotees would get affected, that would actually cause disturbance for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not considering about his own personal hardships, what he has to go through, but he could not tolerate the sadness of the devotees. Gune dosha dakar ichhale sabani shediya ekaki brahmi benati vairagya kariya.
Therefore, to prevent them from accompanying him and becoming unhappy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared their good qualities to be the false. So, of course, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyway, as part of Sannyas Ashram, he was observing so many austerities, and when he would actually travel on foot, and everything will become even more difficult, and if the devotees were to come along, they will become more unhappy, and that will give so much unhappiness to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord said, all your good qualities, they are actually all good qualities only. But then Lord is saying that these are all your faults, and because of these faults, I don't want you to come along with me. Vichari jana bahu minati karila Swatantra Ishwara Prabhu Kavuna Manila.
Four devotees then humbly insisted that they go with the Lord, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not accept their request.
तबे नित्यानंद कहे ये आज्ञा तुम्हारा दुख सुख ये हाउ का कर्तव्य हमारा. Thereupon Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, whatever you order is my duty, regardless of whether it results in happiness or unhappiness. So sometimes when Krishna says you surrender, sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja, so surrender, sometimes people think what the surrender means. Well, Nityananda Prabhu is expressing that in words. What is he saying? Whatever you order is my duty. Whether apparently it brings me happiness or distress, no problem. Because it is your order, I will do it. So this is a very amazing example and a statement of surrender. किंतु एक निवेदन करो आर बार विचार करिया ताहा कर अंगीकार.
Yet, I still submit one petition to you. Please consider it, and if you think it proper, please accept it. Kopina bahira आर जल पात्रा आर किछु नाहि आवे सबे मात्रा.
You must take with you a lion cloth, external clothes, and a water pot. So of course these are three things which are required for a sannyasi, to maintain his ashram. You should take nothing more than this. So I mean, this is a fair deal with Nityananda Prabhu is making with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. हस्तबद्ध नाम गणने जल पात्र बहिर्वासा वही बेके माने.
So Nityananda Prabhu is telling in the previous verse that what all he needs to carry some clothing and the water pot. Now he is asking, since your two hands will always be engaged in chanting and counting the holy names, so you will be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you will chant and you will bring one round down. And then again you will chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and you will count another. So here, one very important thing is, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting and counting. So some of you ask us the question that why is it important to count while I chant? I am constantly chanting. I chant whenever I get time. Whatever I am doing, I am chanting. But it is very important to count also. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Nityananda is saying that you would be chanting and you will be counting holy names. How will you carry water pot and external garments?
Yeah. And what will happen is with one hand Lord will chant and count, and in other hand he will keep the count of number of rounds he has done. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting 100,000 names, 1 lakh names of the Lord every day. We are chanting only around 28,000 names. 16 rounds means roughly 28,000 names we are chanting every day. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting 1 lakh names. So he, with one hand he will chant and count, and other hand he will keep the count of the number of rounds that he has done. So the idea is how he will carry other paraphernalia. प्रेमवेशे पथे तुमी हवे अचेतना ए सब सामग्री तोमार के करे रक्षण. And then he is giving another point. When along the way you fall unconscious in ecstatic love of Godhead, who will protect your belongings? The water pot, the garments and so forth, who will save it for you? You will, in ecstasy you will fall somewhere, and then what will happen to the other things?
People will steal Krishna's clothes also.
Krishna das name saral brahmana iho sange kari laha dharani vedana.
Nityananda Prabhu continued, here is a simple Brahman named Krishnadas. Please accept him and take him with you. That is my request. So for all these things, please take Krishnadas. जल पात्र वस्त्र वही तोमा संगे आवे, ये तो मारा इच्छा करा खींचू ना बली बे.
So this, what is the special quality of this Brahmana? He will carry your water pot and garments. You may do whatever you like. He will not say a word. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had this problem with other devotees. So whatever Auster will do, then other devotees feel sad, and then he'll feel sad, and he is not able to, you know. But here this Brahmana is there. He will not say a word.
Kichu na boli.
You do whatever you want to do, but please take this devotee. Take this person.
तबे तान्रे वाक्य प्रभु करी अंगीकार, ताहा सबलना गेला सर्वभौम घरे. Accepting the request of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya took all his devotees and went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So here the negotiation has finalized. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling, extreme step. He said that I'll not take any one of you. I'll go all alone. So Nityananda, finally he convinced that, okay, you are not taking any one of us. It is okay. At least take this Brahman, poor Brahman, to take care of your belongings. So that is settled. And now they are all going to Sarvabhauma's house.
So from this we can see that so much of intelligence is involved in Vaishnava relationships. Everybody, each devotee wants to serve the other devotee, and it may become sometimes little complex, and there's so much of intelligence which is required.
Namaskari Sarvabhauma asane videla, sabakare mili tabe asane vasila.
As soon as they entered his house, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered the Lord obeisances and a place to sit. After seating all the others, the Bhattacharya took his seat.
Nana Krishna Varta kahi kahile tahare, Mathani ai lana agyamagi bare. After they had discussed various topics about Lord Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I have come to your place just to receive your order. Sanyasakari Vishwarupa giyache dakshine, avashya haribami tanra anvishane.
My elder brother Vishwarup has taken sannyas and gone to South India. Now I must go search for him.
Agyadeha avashyami dakshine chaliba, tomaragyate sukhe leuti asiba. Please permit me to go, for I must tour South India. With your permission, I shall soon return very happily. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has convinced all his other associates, and here was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we have discussed over last 4 or 5 sessions about how sweet and intimate their dealings was, and how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was completely transformed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving him all the respect and he is treating him as his senior. So here he has come to seek his permission. Shuni Sarvabhauma haila atyant katara, charane dariya kahe vishad uttara.
Upon hearing this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became very much agitated, atyanta katar. Catching hold of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave his sorrowful reply.
Bahujan me punya phale painu tomar sanga, hina sanga vidhi mora karile kabanga. After many births, due to some pious activity, I got your association. Now Providence is breaking this invaluable association. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was regretting that after so many years, after so many lifetimes, somehow, finally I got this association. So even in this life, Sarvabhauma feels that he has wasted all his life because he was being an impersonalist. And now because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything has become very auspicious. But then Mahaprabhu is leaving. Shire Vajra Pade Yadi Putra Madhyaya, Sahi Tomar Vichhet.
In this verse, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains the kind of pain that he is experiencing. If a thunderbolt falls on my head, So imagine the lightning thunderbolt falls on the head. That pain. Or if my son dies, I can tolerate it. But I cannot endure the unhappiness of separation from you. स्वतंत्र ईश्वर तुम्ही करिबे गमना दीन का तो राह देखी तोमार चरण.
My dear Lord, you are the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. Certainly you will depart. I know that. Still, I ask you to stay here a few days more so that I can see your lotus feet. So now he knows that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made this desire, so he would definitely go because he is completely independent. Swatantra Ishwar, he is the Supreme Lord who is independent. So what he is requesting, so we saw how Nityananda negotiated, now Sarvabhauma's negotiation. So he is telling, at least stay for few more days before you go. Tahar vinaye prabhu shithil vaila mana Lila divasa kato na kaila gamana.
Upon hearing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's request, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relented. Okay, fine. He stayed a few more days longer and did not depart.
Bhattacharya agrah kari kare nimantrana grihe pakakari prabhu ke karana bhojana. The Bhattacharya eagerly invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and fed him very nicely.
This is so much a joy.
Brahmani Tanra Nama Shathir Mata Randhi Bhiksha Dena Te Ho Ashcharya Katha.
The Bhattacharya's wife, whose name was Shathi Mata, the mother of Shathi, did the cooking. The narrations of these pastimes are very wonderful. दीन पांचरहि प्रभु भट्टाचार्य स्थाने चली बार लागी आज्ञा मागिला अपने.
After staying 5 days at the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally asked his permission to depart for South India. So because Sarvabhauma requested, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed his request or abided by it, and he was served nice prasadam which was cooked by the wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. They affectionately served the Lord, and after 5 days Mahaprabhu again asked for the permission to leave for South India. Prabhura agrahe Bhattacharya sammathaila Prabhu Tandrilana Jagannath Mandire gela.
After receiving the Bhattacharya's permission, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple. He took the Bhattacharya with him. So we see that so much we can learn about Vaishnava dealings from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had decided to go to South India. He decided to go alone, and then he took the permission of all the Vaishnava devotees, and then he took the permission from Bhattacharya, and now he is going to Jagannath Puri temple to seek permission from the Supreme Lord himself.
दर्शन करी ठाकुर पाशा आज्ञा मागिला पुजारी प्रभु रे माला प्रसादानि दिला. Seeing Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also begged his permission. The priest then immediately delivered prasadam and a garland to Lord Chaitanya. So here we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so fond of Lord Jagannath. And today is that auspicious day where Jagannath Rath Yatra has happened in Jagannath Puri Dham. And especially after 2 years, this particular year, now the Rath Yatra has happened in...
Last year also it was there.
I mean, no, in that big...
the public was not allowed.
Yeah, the public was not allowed. So this time all the devotees from all over the world have traveled to Jagannath Puri to participate in this most wonderful, joyous occasion of Jagannath Rath Yatra. And the same Rath Yatra ISKCON centers are celebrating on different days around this time. So in Chennai, we are celebrating Jagannath Rath Yatra on this coming Sunday. And we invite you all, we would be sending the details at the WhatsApp group. We invite you all of those who are here in Chennai or who are staying in close by places nearby Chennai and who can come to Chennai for having darshan of Lord Jagannath. because Lord Jagannath is always very merciful, and on this day of Rath Yatra, he is extraordinarily in a very compassionate mood, and that is how he comes out to give mercy to one and all. Whoever sees Lord on the chariot, it is said that that person takes no rebirth. So that is the opportunity which is there, which was there today in Jagannath Puri, and on Sunday we are having the same thing. We are recreating the whole Jagannath Utsav, Rath Yatra Utsav, Sunday afternoon starting from 3 p.m. We invite
And if
you
you are
all.
not in Chennai, no problem. Whichever location you are at, if there is a ISKCON temple, please contact the local ISKCON temple. At least in India, the Rath Yatra will happen between today and the Ulta Rath Yatra. I think the 9th. So between 1 and 9th, 1st, 2nd and 9th, the Rath Yatra would happen everywhere in India. So check with your local ISKCON temple and find out when is the Rath Yatra, and please do attend this most wonderful of all festivals.
आज्ञामालपान हर्षे नमस्कार करी आनंदे दक्षिण देशे चले गौर हरि हरि हरि.
Thus, receiving Lord Jagannath's permission in the form of a garland, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered obeisances, and then in great jubilation, he prepared to depart for South India. So he had gone to seek permission from Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, and Lord Jagannath sent his prasadam and garland. So receiving the garland from the pujari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that Lord Jagannath has given his permission, and then in great happiness he is prepared to depart for South India.
भट्टाचार्य संगे आरयत निज गण जगन्नाथ प्रदक्षिणा करे करिला गमन. Accompanied by his personal associates and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu circumambulated the altar of Jagannath. The Lord then departed on his South Indian tour. समुद्र तीरे तीरे अलनाथ पथे सर्वभौम कही लेना आचार्य गोपीनाथे.
While the Lord was going along the path to Alarnath, which was located on the seashore, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave the following orders to Gopinath Acharya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his journey. So he was going southwards along the seashore to the place Alarnath. And at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave the following orders to Gopinath Acharya.
चारी गोपिन बाहिर वासा राखी आची घरे ताहा प्रसादाना लाना ऐसा विप्रद्वारे. Bring the 4 sets of loin cloths and outer garments I keep at home, and also some prasadam of Lord Jagannath. You may carry these things with the help of some Brahman. So all these things he is giving, he is sending along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. सर्वभौम कहे प्रभुर चरणे अवश्य पालिब प्रभु मोर निवेदने.
While Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was departing, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya submitted the following at his lotus feet. My Lord, I have one final request that I hope you will kindly fulfill.
Ramananda Raya ache Godavari tire adhikari hai tena Vidyanagare. In the town of Vidyanagar, on the bank of the Godavari, there is a responsible government officer named Ramananda Raya. So this is one new character which is being introduced here, Ramananda Raya, and we will see in the balanced chapter and the upcoming chapters we would hear more about the glories of Ramananda Raya. Shudra Vishayi Gyane Upeksha na karibe Amar vachane tanre avashya milibe.
Please do not neglect him, thinking he belongs to a Shudra family engaged in material activities. It is my request that you meet him without fail. So earlier we see that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very proud of his scholarship. He was an impersonalist, but now he has become a devotee, and He understands the other devotees also. So when we become a devotee, we begin to appreciate the wonderful Vaishnava qualities of others. Till the time we do not become devotees, we are not able to, even understand the beautiful qualities of others. So here, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is requesting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to definitely meet Ramananda Rai without fail, and he's saying that he may be from a lower caste, he may be a Shudra, he may be a Vishay, he may be a sense enjoyer apparently, but Upeksha na karibe. Please do not disregard him. So he is requesting. Why? Because after becoming devotee, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understands that actually there is no other devotee of the caliber of Ramananda Rai.
तुम्हारा संगेरा योग्य ते हो एक जना पृथ्वी ते रसिका भक्त नाही तान रसमा. Sarvabhauma continued, Ramananda Rai is a fit person to associate with you. No other devotee can compare with him in knowledge of the transcendental mellows. Panditya और भक्ति रसा दुहे ते हो महिमा संभाषील जानी बेतुमी ताहार महिमा.
He is a most learned scholar as well as an expert in devotional mellows. Actually, he is most exalted, and if you talk with him, you will see how glorious he is. So, one, Panditya, Ara Bhakti Rasa. So, he is a very, very learned scholar, and he is also expert in Bhakti Ras.
Both the things are
Yeah, so he is a great scholar and he is a great devotee and he has great knowledge of devotional mellows. So you must meet him. And then once you meet him, then you will see how glorious this personality is.
अलौकिक वाक्य चेष्टा तांड्र न भुजिया परिहास करियाचे तांड्रे वैष्णव बलिया. I could not realize when I first spoke with Ramananda Rai that his topics and endeavors were all transcendently uncommon. I made fun of him simply because he was a Vaishnava. So do we remember Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was also like such a person that he would make fun of Vaishnava. So that is how he was, and Mahaprabhu's mercy, he's completely transformed, and now he is realizing that Ramananda Rai is so wonderful, and he is strongly recommending Mahaprabhu, you must meet Ramananda Rai. तुम्हारा प्रसादे बे जानी नूतन तत्वा संभाषीले जानी बेतान ये मन महत्वा.
The Bhattacharya said, by your mercy, I can now understand the truth about Ramananda Rai. In talking with him, you also will acknowledge his greatness. So he's saying that, Lord, by your mercy, I can understand the greatness of Ramananda Rai.
अंगीकार करी प्रभु ताहार वचना तांद्रे वेदा दीते तांद्रे कैला आलिंगना. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's request that he meet Ramananda Rai. Bidding Sarvabhauma farewell, the Lord embraced him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Finally, in the next section, we will see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually is coming to South India and what all places he visits and what all amazing pastimes happen.
Adventures
in South India. So thank you all. Looking forward to see you all next week.